Right, we're on to our next one, number 3, and it's data. We always talk about being data first. So talk us through why that's so important.
Well, yeah, Reuben, how much I love data and talking about data. I can talk to you and all day about that. So, really kind of the crown jewels of any legacy application is its data. That's the thing that's going to remain when you move to the new solution. So unless you can do something like isolate that data and keep it running for any legacy items. I see a lot of insurance companies have an open book system and a closed book system. But to me, it doesn't feel right. This is your data. This is what you've been running your business on. Make sure you can use that in the new solution. And I also see a lot of technical people treat data just as a storage layer. Just I'm gonna, dump my data into the database and then retrieve it when I need it, rather than seeing that as, actually describing what your business is doing, describing what your customers are doing in your systems. So I'd say this is probably the biggest determinant on the risk of a modernization and the success of a modernization. Get your data strategy right. So how we would approach this is we would look at the current legacy structures and ask one really important question. Does that data model still represent logically what the business does? Is it the DNA of the business? All right. So we would look at that storage that might have been designed 25 years ago, and ultimately businesses do change, how they interact with their customers change. But the essence of them, the data that they are capturing and providing, at essence, probably doesn't change over those 25 years. So, maybe people got it wrong 25 years ago. Maybe it's evolved away from what it was intended to do. But that's the first thing we would do. We would look at the data model and say, is it fit for running the business on? And we use a number of techniques for this. We have a few tools that help us extract out of that database almost a logical, a semantic view of that data. So don't worry about all the joins in the database and how it works. What really is the entities in the database and how do they interact? We also use fairly traditional techniques based on that have spawned really from relational data analysis. The idea of this is look at the screens, the reports, the forms that the users are using, all of the policies the user are using, and try and extract out of that a data meaning, so saying when a user uses this screen, what are they interacting with the screen? What data are they interacting with? And then we compare that to the API designs or the services designs and the data model and say, how close are they? How has the way that the users and customers are interacting with the organization changed from the way that the database is representing that data? And that gives us a real good view of saying, whenever we do data migration or whenever we design the new data model, let's realign that with the essence of that business, right? And I say, again, biggest failure in data migration projects is when you're trying to move data from an old system to a new system with totally different semantics. And, the teams really struggle with doing that mapping. Whereas we fundamentally believe you move the old data to a representation of that data that maps to the business as it is now, and then find the best way to design the storage and the data to really, reap new usages of that data, whether for storage or whether for analyzing, whether to feed into your large learning modules to look at how to innovate, use that data in a new way, right? So that extra step of saying what is the essence of what your business does within data and mapping the old system to that, we think is probably the biggest success factor of
and I love that. I think from a stakeholder point of view, it really appeals. It's just so simple, and it means that you're not building a system per se that can change the business. The business is the key driver, and I think that will really resonate with a lot of business leaders.
Yeah, and I think if business stakeholders can't see themselves and their organization in the data, then you've got a problem. You know, you need to be able to give them a view of their data that means something to them, that means their business, you know, say, yes, that's what we do as a business. And you'll be amazed how many sort of legacy systems have moved away from that over time. And you know, you really can't see, you know, the essence of your business in your database or your data model. So let's realign that first before we migrate and build on top of it.